Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Sorry, sports fans. It was a bad week for Minnesota football. Gophers, Vikings, everybody took an L. But this week, there's a chance for redemption. For one team, for sure. Another team, it's time for the rubber to meet the road. We'll talk about all that and much more coming up next on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and it's a beautiful but kind of cold Tuesday. Not bad, though. Could be worse, right? And I'm Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show, and I am your host. My co-host, Sam Extra, is going to be joining me in a minute. As a former NFL player, as a former wide receiver, there's something going on in Minnesota, both with the Vikings and the Gophers, that kind of frustrate me a little bit. Like, I don't think A.J. Brown would be happy to be a Minnesota Gopher or a Viking at this point. Both have some things, and we're going to talk about one. It's kind of rubber meets the road time. The other one, they have a chance for redemption this week, and I'll explain which one is which, the Vikings or the Gophers. Which one has a chance for redemption this week, and then which one is the rubber about to meet the road where the coach has to make a real decision. But we'll talk about all that coming up next. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Just download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And again, I always try to give you guys a lock. The only real lock I can think of right now, to be perfectly honest, people, is Ohio State. If you want a lock, you go put that money on Ohio State to cover, and it for sure will get you that $300 in bonus bets. And then you can go out there and do all the crazy parlays you want. If you want to have a 16-game parlay with the NFL and try to get every game right, go have at it. I'm pretty sure it'll pay out pretty big. And as the week goes, it changes. So make sure you guys go on to FanDuel.com and make sure you place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, again, you get $300 in bonus bets. Well, as I bring my co-host into the show, my producer, Sam Ekstrom. Sam, I'm going to pay off the tease, right? So the Minnesota Vikings out the gate right now. Question of the day. How can J.J. McCarthy redeem his season in the final 7 games? Sam, redemption is not on my card for the Vikings. They don't have a redemption week, in my opinion. They are the rubber that meets the road team. Kevin O'Connell has a serious decision to make. And here's the decision he has to make when the rubber meets the road, right? One, job security. How secure do you feel in your job if you have an absolutely terrible season? Like, how secure do you feel? Whether it's you or Kwesi. I think Kwesi might be a little bit more under fire than Kevin O'Connell due to the draft pick situation. When you look at everybody talking about the draft picks and how the lack of participation from draft picks. But don't forget, they did draft Donovan Jackson. Don't forget, they did pick up Max Brosmer. Don't forget, they found Ivan Pace Jr. So a lot of times they signed Blake Cashman. They re-signed and got Grenard and Van Ginkel. So you can be mad at the draft picks. Yeah, but I guarantee, Sam, if we were to go on to Locked On Packers, to Locked On Vikings, to Locked On Bears, Locked On, like every team is kind of questioning their draft picks, right? Everybody is kind of the Browns. Imagine that. You draft one quarterback and you draft another quarterback, and the crowd is calling for QB number 2. You refuse to play him and you play one. One doesn't look good, throws the ball into the ground. 2 comes in and has a little bit of a spark, but the offensive line is hot garbage. You got to be mad at the GM. Why would you put that offensive line out there? Like, I'm not a offensive lineman, but I did play tight end. Also stayed at Red Roof Inn one time, or Holiday Inn, whatever that commercial is. I don't know.
Holiday Inn Express last night.
Holiday Inn Express. I once stayed there. But I'm not an offensive lineman, but I did play tight end once in my career. And the one thing I understood about blocking situations, Sam, There's help guys and there's man guys, right? So if I'm manned up on the DN and I'm the tackle, I know either my help is coming from the tight end or it's coming from the guard based off of who we dictated as the mic, right? So when the center says mic 52 or mic 54, for those at home listening, for those watching, just to give you an idea, the only thing the mic count is they're telling them these 4 down linemen with their hands in the ground are my 4 blockers we need to be accountable for up front. Number 5 is that linebacker. So if he comes, we're still good in our count. When we run the ball, we're still good in our count. If a 6th guy enters the box, could be a linebacker here, could be Harrison Smith, could be Cam Bynum acting like nobody sees him coming. If he comes, either one, you, Mr. Running Back, you have to block him because my 5 have those 5. That 6th guy is your guy. 2, Mr. Tight End, Mr. Receiver in the slot, you're now, as Vince Vaughn would say, it wasn't Vince Vaughn. It was Owen Wilson. Oh, wait, no, maybe it was Vince Vaughn. It was Vince Vaughn, I think. I can't remember who played quarterback. I think Vince Vaughn played quarterback, right? In Wedding Crashers.
Yes.
And Owen Wilson was the receiver because he went in motion, and then Rachel McAdams followed him, which that's the best cornerback. I mean, come on now. Like, who cares if she runs bump and run on you? Just let her. Like, why would you try to run a route on her and lose? Just let her win. But you got Vince Vaughn at quarterback, call it hot route, right? So that's to the slot receiver or the tight end. Based off that, then you know, okay, they're unblockable. We don't have enough blockers for their rushers, so now you're hot, I'm going to hit you. Here's what's crazy about that, Sam. A couple clips, I don't know if you watched, somebody posted every Shedeur Sanders play. Mm-hmm. 3 offensive linemen, Sam, went to block 1 guy. The other guy came scot-free. The freeze frame is bad, right? Freeze frames are always bad. You can freeze frame a couple Vikings plays, I'm sure. And I'm going to do it probably, I don't know if today or tomorrow is my Ron's review day. Last week it did numbers, Sam. I think it was around 75,000 views.
Wow.
A lot of comments, a lot of interaction within the J.J. McCarthy. So, of course, I got to run it back. I don't know which play. Might be you know what the play I might do, Sam? The one thing I noticed, somebody posted the J.J. McCarthy. Chris Carter hated on it, the J.J. McCarthy touchdown.
Right.
Chris Carter's kind of right, Sam. Like, 1, did you see the 59 minutes? 2, Sam, he was late on the throw. I don't know if you noticed that. He was late on the throw to Jordan Addison. That throw didn't have to be that heroic if he throws it right away. The reason being is because the seam receiver was actually running a post. So you know you're not going to the post. So the minute your guy gets to the top of his route, let the ball go to the guy outside. By holding it, once he ran the post, the seam defender now knows, okay, I don't have to be between 2 anymore. I can go to number 1. I can let 2 go because he's running a post, and I got a safety inside. He's lucky. That was Nahshon Wright, right? He's lucky that was Nahshon Wright. If that was any other cornerback that kind of understood once you run a post and I no longer have number 2, I'm buzzing to number 1 and I'm picking this thing off. If at worst, I'm knocking it down and it's game over before that. No celebration. It's more going to end like Shedeur Sanders because he had a chance with the Browns to win his game at the end, and it didn't happen. There were a bunch of drops, too. He made some great throws. But here's the thing. I know the Browns fans are probably sitting back looking at their GM like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Why are you doing it? And so for people to be mad about Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi, you have to admit, though, there are some picks that have panned out. You know, you get Will Fries in there. Like there are some pieces that they've added that have helped out. Definitely Isaiah Rodgers, right? Paid off early on. Has paid off so far during the season. It's not been like a guy where like, oh man, he's always trailing the play. He's always getting beat. No, Isaiah Rodgers, for Reggie Wayne to tell me, he's light in the butt. He is light, but he still makes plays. The kid can play. And so you got to give them credit for the free agents as well. Like the draft picks, yeah, you can hate all you want and you can keep posting draft picks, blah, blah. But you know what they don't post? Those same people, Sam, they don't post Isaiah Rodgers, Blake Cashman, Jonathan Kennard, Van Ginkel, Fries, Donovan Jackson. The list goes on. They don't post about the free agents they've picked up. Not Allen, but what's the other one? Javon Hargrave?
Hargrave.
Like, they're not posting, oh, look how many draft picks he's drafted that helped out. Look how many free agents he's picked up that helped out. Like, let's be real. They've done a great job with free agency. Draft pick? It's a crapshoot for every GM when you draft a player. You just don't know what you're going to get. You don't. The Giants drafted Daniel Jones and did nothing. The Colts made him great. The Jets drafted Sam Darnold, did nothing. Kevin O'Connell made him great. The Seahawks are making him an MVP candidate that potentially might be in the Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield, Bucks. Like, the list goes on of guys that people are just like, I don't know if that GM did a good job.
Are you nervous then, Ron, that McCarthy is the next guy who will eventually have success, just not with the team that drafted him? Is that what's happening here?
So the rubber meets the road. My point is, yes, that's one, right? So if Kevin O'Connell can get very easy on his offense with guys like Josh Dobbs, why can't he do, or Sam Darnold even, why can't he do that, just do that with JJ? Like, why make JJ McCarthy not Sam Bradford, what's the guy's name for the Rams that won the Super Bowl with them? Matthew Stafford. Sorry, not a Sam at all. Matthew Stafford.
A lot of good Sams.
Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of good Sams out there, but Matthew Stafford, right? Jared Goff. Like, he's not them. So why try to make him them? Make him what he is. Like, that 2-minute drill. Just like I think Shedeur Sanders, same thing for the Browns. His 2-minute drill was awesome. Why? Because he doesn't have to think. The offensive line doesn't have to block too long. They know they're going quick. The defense is not going to get tricky on their rushes. There's a reason Peyton Manning went up-tempo offense a lot. There's a reason why Peyton Manning did light huddles and wanted to manipulate the defense. There's a reason for it, right? Now, I'm not saying do that because that takes an extremely smart, savvy quarterback who's been doing it for years. Peyton Manning didn't do that out the gate his first couple years. That was later on in his career when he got with Clyde Christensen and Tom Moore and Tony Dungy. That was later in his career we became that guy. He wasn't that guy early on. So maybe think about that, right? With J.J. McCarthy. Give him some type of like offense where it's a little bit up-tempo. The run game's going to work. The pass game is simply read. You see he can run 4 verticals and get the ball out of his hands pretty quick once he figures it out. Maybe do that, Sam. So that's my rubber meets the road moment. Is like Kevin O'Connell has to understand how to design an offense that works for the guy he has. I always go back to the 3-4 defense with Danielle Hunter, right? Square peg, round hole. It didn't work. But then you see Grenard and Van Ginkel, and you're like, man, Brian Flores is a genius. With Danielle Hunter, you're like, Brian Flores, what are you doing? Sometimes players don't fit your system, but you have to then create a system that fits that player. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
Yeah. I mean, I think without question, there are players open, right? And J.J. McCarthy's not executing the throws. So to your point, you may have to create simpler throws. I think probably the best example of this was the Cleveland game where they knew Myles Garrett was Myles Garrett. He was going to come hard at Carson Wentz, and they had a patchwork offensive line. And I thought they really adjusted in that game. I thought they had some real rhythm, and they only scored 21 points. That's not great, not terrible. But it was a system that fit what was required. So maybe J.J. McCarthy is just not equipped to get the ball downfield. I mean, they showed the stat at one point, Ron. What was he on downfield throws in that game on Sunday? 2 of 10, 3 of 11, like some very low percentage.
Something
he
like
tried
that.
to work the ball deep. Yeah. I don't know if that's the hand bothering him, but the lack of accuracy, like it makes you nervous when he throws downfield. You wonder, is this going to get airmailed to the free safety? So that could require some adjustments. And the question for Kevin O'Connell is, do you put the training wheels on? Does that hinder his development? Like, is it really about winning anymore, or is it about challenging the quarterback to try to make him great in the long term? That's the question that's weighing on the head coach right now.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point about the hand injury, Sam. We know it's just a laceration, right? It has to be. It can't be anything broken, structural, whatever, because all he had was like a piece of tape. So clearly it's something, because he hit a helmet, so maybe there was a gash that happened by hitting, because those helmets, for people that know, there's all kinds of like exposed wires at times. There's sharp edges on the face mask, all these new face masks. Like when I played, super round, nice face mask. Now, I don't know if you've seen the new Shut F7 Air face mask that like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Diggs wears one. Trayvon Diggs, by the way. I've seen a couple guys on Sunday and Monday Night Football. The only reason I notice it now because there's a pump in the back. They can pump their own helmet up. And so it's kind of cool, Sam. There's no more old school equipment guy with the hand rail guard. It's the player can pump his own helmet up in between plays and then deflate it in between plays himself. So I'm noticing that with these players. But those helmets, right, the new face masks, have like these sharp edges on them. I don't know, like I guess it looks cool to them. The kids like that now because you see the high school kids want to do it. College kids, my guess is next season when it goes mass production to everybody, you're going to see way more college kids with it as well. But he must have hit his hand on it, right? If he had like a little brace thing on it, but I'm guessing that was just to keep it covered up to whatever they did, whether it was stitches, whether it was crazy glue to keep it closed up and then let it try to heal as much as it can. Problem is that's his throwing hand, right? So that's his flex hand. That's his hand that moves all the time. That's his hand that does all the stuff. Not to say that bothered him, because when the game is going, you don't think about it, but it does mentally, you think about it, right? Like if it does hurt a little bit when it pulls down, if it is stitches or something, and you know, like the way you throw now just has a weird, like the tape or whatever, because like a huge bandage, like it's grabbing at his wrist a little bit. I mean, there's all kinds of little stuff that you can think of that you're like, man, like, is it the visual of you see that on your hand? You know, is he receiving the snap? And then it feels weird when it hits up against the center's butt and then he's backing up. You know, like there's a lot of things you can go through this, right? At the end of the day, you're going out there to play. You're going out there to make these plays. And I think you hit the nail on the head. There's guys open that throws are being missed. So that's where I have to like play devil's advocate to myself. Kevin O'Connell maybe is giving him an offense that works. He's just not making the throws. So then another rubber meets the road, right? So we got a fork in the road. You seen that newest picture, right? The fork in the road. I might put one out today with the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell at the fork in the road. To the right is I gotta help J.J. McCarthy out with some of the passes he can make. Because if you can't make these passes, then I got to give him the pass he can make because he's my guy. Or am I just going to keep letting him fail so that I know he's failed and I can move on? To the left, it's Max Brosmer. And maybe not even let's go a trident in the road. You can go straight, left, or right. Straight ahead is I'm going to just keep doing what I do and let's see if it works out. That's the three options he has. I'm going to just do what I do. If J.J. McCarthy keeps missing these high throws, these out routes, and Justin Jefferson shaking his head, is Justin Jefferson going to go to the bench and pull out a book like A.J. Brown and start reading like The Art of War? And like at that point then, and I don't feel like Justin Jefferson's that guy. He's never come off as that guy. But I would hate to lose my star receiver because I'm stubborn, because I'm not doing some of this. The other thing I hate too, Sam, what's up with all these trick plays? Like what is with these long developing plays? You know, like again, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. Like if you watch the Bears, right? They just run the ball. They actually just do quarterback sneak, old school. Like Caleb Williams got like 3 yards on a quarterback sneak, right? I don't have to make it look like a tush push. I make it look like we're going to run lead outside. I motion a guy to make you think that's where I'm trying to run the ball. And then my quarterback just goes between the two D linemen. Get myself 1 to 2 to 3 yards. It was like a wave, and Caleb Williams just went. We haven't done that. Have we run a quarterback sneak this year on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1 even? No,
we haven't, and it's weird because Darnold did this a lot and pretty successfully. So are they nervous about putting McCarthy in the pile? That's weird to me.
Maybe. Like I said, we haven't done it at all. Like at all. Like whatever happened to just that? Whatever happened to put CJ Ham at fullback? You put Josh Oliver to the right side. You put TJ Hawkinson motioning off his hip. And you just hand the ball off to Jordan Mason going full speed behind CJ Ham and Josh Oliver. Try that on 2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1. Why don't we do that? But anyway, Sam, like the thing about redemption, right? So let's go to your question. These last 7 games, the Vikings are 4-6. How can J.J. McCarthy redeem his season in the final 7 games? Sam, honestly, he has to get out of the basement in all these categories. His QBR last week, I haven't seen it this week yet because I haven't looked at it. Last week was 26. He had a 26 QBR. It was so bad that if you tried to rank the QBRs and you actually put them in order, he's not even on the list. Like, you have to go to a different category to push him back up on the list to see his stats. But if you just go QBR, he doesn't even come up on the list. He's too far down with a 26 QBR. For those who understand, passer rating is basically completions, interceptions, touchdowns. That's it. QBR takes into account expected run, expected pass play. Is it easy? Is he hard? Pressure. How do they handle the pressure? All that kind of stuff.
Rushing, yard, like how you used your legs. Yeah.
Yep. Quarterback rushing yards, quarterback escaping the pocket and scrambling, positive plays. If it was a tough throw on 3rd and 7, is he getting it in the hole to convert first downs? It has that in there too. First down conversions with your arm, as well as your legs. If you are the QB, 26, Sam. Why? Because if you look at some of those plays that I talked about last week, where it's like J.J. McCarthy could have run for the first down, he didn't. And that goes back to your point about the quarterback sneak. Maybe they are telling him, hey, be careful with running too much. Be careful with doing this. We don't want to get you hurt. If that's the case, Sam, put him in a bubble. Like, if you don't want to get him hurt, just put him in a bubble and move on next year. Let Max Brosmer do what he does, throw his body around for the team, and win some games. But, like, what does J.J. McCarthy need to do? Like, his QBR, Sam, to redeem this season and for people to have faith in him, his QBR has to, like, I can't even say 60 to 70 because that's almost impossible at this point because it's cumulative, right? But I can look at his week-to-week QBR. So let's not take out the whole season. By the end of the season, his total season QBR needs to be in the 50s. I don't know if he can get there, though, but needs to be in the 50s. Down the stretch, these next 7 games, if I just go week by week QBR, I'd say needs to be 58 to 65. That's not asking a lot.
No.
58 to 65. I'm not asking him to be Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen. I'm not asking him to be those guys. Just be okay. Just be 50. Go to 50 QBR even. Just be pretty basic. I think like 80 something is the best you can get, or 90 something. I'm not sure what the max number is.
I think it's 100.
Is it straight at 100? So yeah.
Last year, Darnold last year, for instance, Darnold had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games better than 70. And McCarthy's had his high is 54 this year.
Wow. So I'm giving him a pretty low bar to say 58 to 65. That's a low bar. But I think that's where we need to start, right? 58 to 65. I think that's a pretty, and maybe every week we'll do this now. Every week we'll look at his QBR and say, well, another week in the 30s. Well, another week in the 20s. Like, what was he this week, Sam? Was he in the teens even? Or did that last drive? Yeah, the last drive helped him out.
Yeah. Salvaged it with that last TD. It probably.
But that's lower than his average. His average was 26 for the season. He was at 22. So the last drive saved his life because I'm pretty sure he would have been in the teens. Because I posted that after that touchdown, and I said his QBR was 26. I don't think this performance helped him out this game. And, of course, people are like, but did you see the last drive? I'm like, yeah, but I'm glad you gave me that number, 22. So I was right. The performance did not help him out. 26. And that performance is worse than what he was even at, which was bad. And you're the starting quarterback for one of 32 teams. So, I'm not going full Luke Brown on this. I'm not like, get rid of him. I'm just saying find the plays to make him better. But Sam, you know what? Like, what is your thought on redemption? Like, what does he need to do for you?
Yeah, there's got to be an upward trajectory where you head into the offseason with some confidence, right? If it doesn't get better than the 22 QBR, I mean, honestly, Ron, I know we're preaching patience here, but if you've got suddenly a 12-game sample size with a 22 QBR, you're talking about there are quarterbacks in the draft. You're talking about who's available in free agency to compete with him. I think he loses the guarantee of the job next year if it does not improve. If it does, I think you say, okay, let's roll with him into next year. We'll get a veteran backup to support him. If it doesn't get better, then you're changing your offseason plan. You're probably moving off of what you thought you were gonna do, which is hard. But it would be. I know that we've seen like Caleb Williams got better from year 1 to year 2. Bryce Young turned the corners. Like the first years are often rough. It's just really hard to watch when you have this roster that's pretty expensive and built to win with a lot of veterans. They can't be happy with this either.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not. And I mean, the only other option would be for somebody for the Vikings, or not Vikings, they can't do this, but Minnesota, to find a video of Dante Moore with a gas mask on smoking weed, so that he drops to the Vikings' lap.
The old Larry Tunsil trick. Yep.
Exactly. So he drops to the Vikings, and they're like, oh, we'll take him. He's a problem kid. And then all they find out is that actual video was AI. Or that video was just him wearing a gas mask, and there was actually no real smoke in there. But that's the only other option. And Dante Moore has his faults, but I haven't found him yet. When you watch him with Oregon. And again, Oregon has weapons, but he's a horizontal passer. He can throw the ball down the field, as we saw to those tight ends. They're massive. But yeah, he's not going to be there for the Vikings. My guess is one of these teams that suck are going to get him. If he comes out. So some people are saying don't come out this year because the NIL dollar amount he's getting at Oregon. Why leave? You have a chance to win a national championship. Yeah. You'll be competing again next year in the Power 5, Power 4. You're going to have NIL money and no pressure from an NFL team, especially if it's not the team you want to go to. That's the crazy thing about NIL now. 10 years ago, Dante Moore's coming out. No question. He's money. Now, he doesn't have to. He's like, well, do I want to go to the Browns? They're bad, and they already have 2 quarterbacks that are rookies. Do I want to go there? No, I'm going to just stay at Oregon. It's going to come down to the team. Because who are the potential landing spots even that want a quarterback? The Titans have their quarterback.
Yeah, the Titans have their guy. I wonder if the Browns probably would say they have their guy, at least one of the 2 dudes. I
don't know. Dylan Gabriel looks terrible.
I don't know. Maybe the Browns, the Giants have Dart. Who else is bad?
There's nobody.
Commanders have Daniels.
Well, the only thing that you could do is what's that team? I'm trying to think of their name. They the Chiefs. If you want to draft your future, knowing Patrick Mahomes only has who knows how many years.
Whoa. The Chiefs future.
Hey, future. You got to get it's time. Patrick Mahomes, that team looks like Travis Kelce's gonna be done. Mahomes, he's got a ton of money.
He's
do you
30,
really want to go through this?
He's 30.
So do you think he'll play to 40 then?
Yeah.
You think he'll play to 40? Maybe. But if you've made $300 million and you could just relax and chill with Travis Kelce while he's going on tour with Taylor Swift, why not? Why not? But so the teams, Tennessee, right now, the way the draft order goes, Tennessee has their quarterback, Giants have their quarterback, Cleveland has the Saints, maybe. I don't think they have their guy. They definitely don't. I don't feel like they have their guy. So the Saints could be a spot. The Jets, I don't know if they feel like that's the answer for them in Fields. The Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know if they feel like Geno Smith is their guy, so they probably would draft a quarterback there. That could be a nice landing spot out west for Dante Moore. There's some other quarterback options out there, though, Julian Sayin and so on and so forth. The Commanders have their guy. The Falcons have their guy. The Bengals have their guy. Arizona has their guy. Miami is Tua, and then there's Minnesota. This is as of right now. Now, of course, this can change, but this is how the draft order would be the way I just went right now. I think the Falcons goes to the Rams, though, because of their trade. So the Rams would actually have that at 8. Stafford, maybe, his potential predecessor. Could be time for the Rams to maybe draft a guy. But yeah, so the Vikings would currently be at 12th. I don't know if they pull a trigger on the quarterback, though. That would be absolutely mayhem. Because then the Cowboys have their guy, the Ravens have their guy, then there's the Chiefs who could find maybe a backup or the predecessor. You got Houston, you got Carolina. They probably will be looking. Detroit won't. There's not a lot of room in here. Like the Steelers at 21. I mean, that's when you're starting to get to quarterback because Jacksonville and Tampa Bay have their guy. Chargers have their guy. 49ers have their guy. Packers, Bears, Buffalo, Seattle. Maybe Seattle, though, finds a Sam Darnold potential future guy for him. Coach has their guy, I think, and Daniel Jones. Yeah, New England has their guy. Philly has their guy. And Denver has their guy. So, Sam, there's not a lot of space for number one draft picks this year. So this might be the year to kind of sit back if you're a quarterback and say, hey, look, this is not a great quarterback year. You know, this is not a year where guys need quarterbacks. But also that's the reason why the Vikings could say if we are at 12 or top 15, do we see what's out there? But we'll talk about that again probably tomorrow a little bit on what the Vikings future looks like. Would you draft a quarterback? Would you not? But coming up next, we're going to talk about the Gophers quick before we get into the Daily 3. And we'll do all that after a word from our sponsors.
FanDuel brings us today's show. If you're an NFL fan, college football fan, NHL, NBA, whatever it is, there's no better place to get in the action than FanDuel. They're an official betting partner of the NBA, which is in full swing right now. The T-Wolves with an easy cover last night against the shorthanded Dallas Mavericks. The Vikings are touchdown underdogs at Lambeau on Sunday. You can get all the spreads, all the over-unders at FanDuel. Live wagering, same-game parlays, all available. And new customers can bet $5. And if that wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's the FanDuel Sportsbook app, which is so easy to use, giving you great promos all the time. Like bet 5, get 300. FanDuel.com. Sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Yeah, well, you know, we talked about the Gophers, Sam, so I'm not going to even waste too much time. So we already know the rubber meets the road was the Vikings. They got to figure this out. J.J. McCarthy has to redeem his season with the final 7 games. The Gophers, Sam, they have a chance for redemption. Here's why. Now, I know the question is competitive teams. They haven't been really competitive against, you know, big-time programs. So I saw somebody talk about this on one of the big networks. NIL dollars is killing a lot of these smaller programs. And Minnesota's not a small program, but as PJ Fleck will put it, they're a developmental program, meaning they're going to recruit. And you saw the broadcast talk about that because PJ Fleck brought it up to them. So they're going to bring it up in their broadcast that, you know, when you see guys like Carter Mins, when you see, you know, guys like Jackson Howard, you know, players that schools, you know, LSU was never going to let Jackson Howard play, at least not right away. It would probably take him 4 years. The Gophers are like, look, we're willing to develop you. You know, Jackson Howard came to Minnesota, didn't play much the first year. It took time. Get that body right. Get the strength right. Learn our system. Carter Mins, same thing. High school recruit. Drake Lindsey, you know, quarterback of the future. Jalen Smith, you know, young receiver. Jamison Gears. Like, you could go down the line about these guys that PJ Flecker's getting, you know, Maverick Baranowski. You know, he's getting these guys at a young age and he's trying to turn them into really good college football players. So many schools like Georgia, like Alabama, like Ohio State. Like Ohio State literally took the Alabama cornerback, who was one of the best cornerbacks in the country, and said, we got more money for you. Come over here. Come over to this side where we're going to probably be competing for a national championship again. Which they are. Like, that's not developing your program. That's just paying players to come play for you. That's NFL is what that is. That's free agency is what that is. He literally was already great with the team he was with and with he was at Alabama. Alabama is a blue blood. It's a sticker school. It is one of the best programs in the country historically. And then you go to another helmet school at Ohio State. Like, you know, like, so the Gophers, Sam, when I say redeem, the reason is they're playing Northwestern. Northwestern did give Michigan a run for their money, but I don't think Michigan's really good. I think Michigan is kind of in the same situation that, you know, our teams are in, whereas you got to figure out what your quarterback does well. When Bryce Underwood is running, he's great. When he sits in the pocket, he's not great. They got to use him more where he's built to do, which is run the ball a little bit and RPO, throw on the run. You know, have a second option. If nobody's open, I'm going to keep going. If somebody's open, I'm going to throw it. They got to do more of that with him. But Northwestern has put up some fights the last couple of weeks, and so that's my question is, like, are the Gophers mentally and physically defeated? And I do know PJ Fleck is great on this. Like, I have the PJ Fleck show today, and I get to sit back and hear him explain the week, how they're going to attack the week. One of the questions we have for him is, what is your plan, you know, for this week? How do you take your players and turn it around and say, Yeah, we took another, as the kids would say, belt to butt. We took another whooping. How do we turn it around? And Sam, my question for them is, why are you not using your weapons, right? So you have Darius Taylor and they're using him up, but you still have Jalen Smith. You still like Drake Lindsey and some of these receivers. The question is, they're not getting separation, as I've heard PJ Fleck say. There's no separation for Drake to throw the ball. Maybe run concepts where they don't need the separation. Like, you're not going to get separation unless you're Deshaun Jackson. I just watched the Deshaun Jackson highlight with Michael Vick. You got to have blazing speed to do that. I looked at a lot of my catches when I was in college. They were contested. I just stuck my hands out further than a DB and I made the catch. I wouldn't be a separation receiver in this era of football. Like, would they be saying that about me? Like, Ron doesn't get separation. No, but if you throw the ball and I got position on the DB and then you put it in a spot where I can catch it, I'm going to make the play for you. Now, I did every once in a while beat a guy deep, though. I ran a couple of stutter goals. I ran a couple of post corners. I ran some deep posts, and I had a little bit of separation. But like Wisconsin, there's a video of me running side by side with the safety, hand chicken fighting as the ball is coming over my shoulder. He's right next to me. Only thing I do is I'm like, okay, let me lean over. The ball's going to come over this shoulder, and let me just lean into him and then catch it here. Like, that's when you got to force your weapons to make plays. When they're throwing fades and all this other stuff, they're doing well. And so in order for them to turn this around, Sam, they got to find somebody else other than Darius Taylor. Darius Taylor cannot carry this team by himself. One, he doesn't have the top end speed once he's in open field. Like, you can see it when he breaks away, then it's just like, it looks like he's going to pull a hamstring every time. Like, he just doesn't have the top end speed. And so for the defense for the Gophers, they're doing all they can do. I think they're doing a great job. But again, you gave up 40 points to Ohio State. You gave up, 40 points to Oregon. But then you could say, well, is our offense putting us back on the field? Is the chicken or the egg? But Sam, it's got to be Jalen Smith, Jamison Gear. You got Le'Meke Brockington. You gotta be able to use these guys, whether it's one steps, hitches, slants. I know PJ Fleck brought that up, that Drake Lindsey has the ability to come to line of scrimmage, see a DB off, and you just throw it out to the receiver. Maybe do that a little bit more. Maybe force them to come up and play you so then you have press and then you can run a fade. But I don't know, Sam. Like, when you see this team right now, like, what are your thoughts? Because I just think, like, when it comes to these big games, it gets away so fast, there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where PJ Fleck always goes, like Iowa, punt here, block this, interception, and then we're down 21 points, and now we can't run our offense that we plan on running. Darius Taylor got hurt. We couldn't plan on running our offense. We plan on running. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint whether it's an offense problem or a defense problem, because they gave up against Ohio State, Iowa, and Oregon. They gave up 42 or 41, like 41 per game in those three games. They got scored on really easily. And this is the same defense that stifled Nebraska. I can't put my finger on this defense. I don't think this offense can realistically keep pace with those other offenses. So your defense has to have a much bigger game, has to have a lot more stops in the game to even stand a chance. While you were talking, I looked up the wide receivers contested catch rate, just for fun. They are 12 of 36 on contested catches, so 33%. I think you want to be up around 50 on those 50-50 balls. So not making the contested catches, not getting a lot of separation. I think Brockington, I like Brockington's year, Ron. I don't know about you. I think he's been their best receiver. Tracy and Smith. You like them long term? Like, I know they're both on the younger side. Oh, no, I guess Tracy's a transfer. So Tracy's gone. So you gotta fill the wide receiver room with some more talent, and maybe that's where the portal comes in.
Yeah. So when you look at not just the portal, but recruiting wise too, I know the Gophers got like the number. I want to say he's the number. I have to look and see. He's like the number one, or he's like top 3 JUCO receivers, and the Gophers got him to commit. Here's the problem too, though. Like, Texas, for some reason, has offered, like, I think 4 Gopher commits, 3 or 4 Gopher commits, like, because somebody posted it, like, those same guys that committed to the Gophers have committed in their bio, have also then posted, like, thanks for the whatever, great conversation, for whatever, Texas, and because Ryan Burns from Gopher 247 or whatever said, I guess Texas is just going to watch Gopher film this week and offer all the guys that committed to the Gophers already. So when I say that, think about, like, I look at like the lineman, the tackle for Ohio State. He was a Gopher. He left for money, So it's not like PJ Fleck's not getting these guys, He had another guy, D tackle. I forgot his name, but Trill Carter. He left, went to Alabama or went to Texas. Like PJ's had some guys, some 5-star, 4-star guys that they do well for a year or two here, and then they leave. Because that's what this NIL portal era is about. Like, I can't wait till they change it. I think officially this is the last year of that, where like now once you do it, you get one transfer and then that's it. So now players are going to have to really stop chasing the money, because you go to a school that doesn't work out for you. Like, look at Dante Moore, went to UCLA, started, great, had the money, but then he's like, look, this team's not that good. He went back to Oregon, sat for a year behind Dylan Gabriel, and now he's a potential Heisman candidate. When the Gophers, like, when you talk about weapons, yeah, Jalen, I like Jalen Smith. Like, I think you see his top end deep threat ability. He's young though. He's a freshman. Like, I remember my freshman year, my routes were probably trash. I'm not saying his are. I'm just saying, like, I remember my freshman year and I look back. I mean, I got some touchdowns. I had the freshman record and all that stuff. But when I say that, I'm saying from like a polished route running standpoint, I don't think I had it as a freshman. Matter of fact, I know I didn't have it as a freshman. And I'm pretty sure Jalen Smith is doing the same thing. It moves a little bit faster than high school. Players are a little bit better than high school. Corners and safeties are a little bit smarter than high school. Most of the high school corners and safeties you face aren't going to college. I was blessed enough to be in Detroit where every other week I was playing a college caliber type of corner or safety. Cass Tech, guy went to Duke, other guy went to Western Kentucky, other guy went to Memphis. Another guy went to Memphis that we played against from Cody. Another guy from Pershing High School, Larry Foote, played for Michigan, played for the Steelers. I had to deal with him at linebacker and safety. We went over and played Chadsey. Andrew Davison played for the Cowboys. So we went to Kansas. So I went up against some guys. That was the one good thing, is I did have some weeks where I went up against NFL caliber guys in Detroit. But, I think but Jalen Smith's from here in Minnesota. There's not a lot of cornerbacks in Minnesota. Like, I probably one this year, maybe, or two, maybe one. I don't even know if there's any. Going to a Power 4 conference corner, I don't think there's any in Minnesota this year.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm saying, like, as a high school receiver out of Minnesota, it's a huge jump going to the Big Ten. And so you got to learn that the stuff you did in high school is not going to work. But, when I look at this team, Sam, and again, why aren't they competitive against big games? I'm putting it on NIL. I have to. I know it's a cop-out, but I just think, like, it's a different level of talent when you look at Oregon. All three running backs, legit, fast, top end speed. Like, any of those guys can go to anywhere in the Big Ten right now and probably start. You look at receiver wise for them, ballers. Two guys got hurt and didn't play, and they still had the 6'4", 6'5" tight ends that were going to give you trouble. They still had the other receivers. Like, doesn't matter if their top two receivers are out. They got weapons. And so, like the guy that caught the touchdown, the controversial, which his leg was out of bounds, but whatever. I think he's like the fourth receiver. The fourth. And he's making plays like that. So, and again, when those other two guys are young, so in two more, maybe another year or two, and they decide to enter the NFL, then that other guy's going to step up as his junior, senior year. Like, they just have weapons. He's a good kick returner, punt returner. Like, they have weapons. So I put it on that. I don't know, Sam. What do you put it on?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, Ron. I think the inequity right now in college football, just with the money everywhere, and then you see, like, if you're a Gopher and you take on an Iowa, an Ohio State, and Oregon, that's deflating. It's deflating to get beat 42-10, 42-13, and realize the gap between your roster and their roster. And then you say, well, if I can go somewhere like that, then I can really be successful and really get a spotlight and really win. Like, it just feeds into itself when these matchups happen. Like, that's why it's so important to play your best game in those situations. And unfortunately, the Gophers haven't, and I'm sure it leaves a bad taste in those guys' mouth.
Yeah, and it's not the Oregon-Ohio State. I think we knew that was going to happen. Not that bad, but we knew it was going to happen. But the Iowa one, that is the one that you scratch your head, because it's a similar recruiting circle It's a similar NIL package. I don't know what Iowa's NIL looks like. I know they're paying their quarterback a ton of money, and he's not good. So I just wondered that. I wondered, like, because, again, PJ Fleck talked about the special teams plays, the pick six, all that stuff. That's the things that are perplexing. This, like, Darius Taylor, did that little bit, and then also, they don't have their AJ Turno, so you're missing back number 1 and number 2. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, I'd say, with the Gopher program when it comes to that running back situation. They were a team with a young quarterback that wanted to run the ball 30 times a game. They just can't do it right now, and it is what it is. So we'll see, I think. But again, when you talk about redemption, I think against Northwestern, they have a chance to redeem themselves and get back in the good graces of the Minnesota fandom. But coming up next, we got the Daily 3. We're going to be quick today with that. 3 questions, about a minute each, and we'll do that after a short pause. And now it's time for the Daily 3. Take it away, Sam.
All right, Vikings question for you, Ron, to start the Daily 3.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they create turnovers anymore? What's your best explanation for the reason that has dried up?
I don't know. I will say this, though. Like, Brian Flores' defense at times becomes a little bit predictable. I think now teams are prepared for some of the stuff. I feel like he's actually created turnovers when he doesn't all-out blitz. Like, he has enough defenders back there to make stuff happen. You've seen Harrison Smith back there with Isaiah Rodgers and a tip. You've seen Josh Metellus back there with so-and-so and a punch out by Isaiah Rodgers, and somebody else scoops it up. The only people going are the 3 to 4 down linemen, and then maybe Blake Cashman as the 5th. But, when he gets too tricky, I think his guys are out of position, and it's tough to get those. Also with the quarterback stuff, though, like normally, like strip sack, fumbles, and all that stuff, it just feels like guys are whiffing or missing, or, like guys are a little nervous about, like, they're free and clear, and they're like, oh, shoot, if I go in too fast, too hard, and hit this quarterback, I might get a flag. Like, I'm not saying that's the only reason why but I just feel like guys are coming up and they're not as aggressive as they used to be. And that's got to be changed and fixed. But other than that, it's not like it's not for trying. But I don't know. It's just, it's again, turnovers. It's not so much of them getting the turnovers, but then their team turning over a ton. That's the other problem. Like, the offense is turning it over too much, and then we're expecting the defense to carry the load. So I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think other teams are not having to be as urgent with their throws. Like,
Correct.
The Vikings were constantly playing from ahead last year, so other teams had to force it down the field, and that led to more turnovers. And this year, the Vikings are playing from behind. They've played behind as much as anyone in the league. So that makes sense. Ron, you talked about the Chiefs looking for the future after Mahomes. Is the dynasty over after falling to 5-5?
I'm not saying it's over, but yeah, I think like just other teams have gotten better. Like the whole NFL this year, heads turn on the ceiling. But there's one thing about the Chiefs. Every time they have a down year or they don't make the Super Bowl, I feel like Andy Reid figures it out in the offseason and they pick up the guys they need to make Patrick Mahomes really good. Tyreek Hill might be looking for a home. Maybe he comes back. I don't know if he's able to even play football again after that injury. But I do know he needs some weapons like that. He has his Worthy and Juju Smith-Schuster, some of those guys, but it's just not the same. It's not the same as Tyreek Hill. So I think part of it is the weapons, and he might lose Travis Kelce, which if that happens, yeah, the dynasty might be over.
Brady had a lull in the middle of his career. Remember, he won the 3, and then he didn't win one for, I want to say, a decade. The Patriots were declared done a couple of times, and then they kind of started a whole new thing on the back half of his career. So I think it could be a lull. I don't know if it's
he needs to find a Gronk then. He needs a new tight end.
Yeah. Nope. I think finding the future behind Kelce, that is something the Chiefs should be doing.
Yeah.
Last one, Ron. This would be interesting for you. The NFL is trying to kibosh the NFLPA report card grades. Now, the Vikings have gotten great grades, A's, A+s for their organizational work. Not the same for all teams. Some teams have gotten F's, and I'm sure those teams are embarrassed, and the NFL is trying to look out for those owners. Is that as simple? Like, is it as simple as the NFL's just trying to quiet negative press? Like, why would the league want to stifle this process that seems to be helping?
Yeah, because they don't want players to have a hit list. Like if because owners are probably saying like, oh, it wasn't that bad. He's just mad I cut him, or it wasn't that bad. He's just mad because we didn't pay him what he wanted. I think they don't want any negative repercussions for them running their day-to-day business. And maybe they feel like this is just a hit list for players to be able to complain without putting faces to names, because it's all anonymous. It's all just voting within the organization. So you don't know who really believes that. You don't know who really wants to give you an F. And I think owners, I think they don't mind the report card. I think what they're trying to do is by doing this whole okay, we want to kibosh it. They want to come up with a plan and say, okay, look, you guys can do it, but let's keep it internal. You guys turn that in all the owners, and then in our owners meeting, we'll talk about it. And what does that do? Nothing. Because there's no public tar feathering where these owners have to then make changes. Also because they don't want other players. I think it should be released to all the players too when they're deciding on free agency. I think they're trying to stop that. Oh, he would have come here, but you just said we were F. So he picked Minnesota because everybody talks about how great of an organization they are. So what? Get better. Do better. So I think they come up with a solution where we as media and fans can't see it, whereas the players can still see it and then the owners can see it. But again, it's still going to get leaked because Adam Schefter is still going to get it from somebody within somebody's building, especially from the teams that have a great report card. He's definitely going to get that. The teams with a good report card are going to be like, hey, man, you might want to look at the Raiders' grade. It's bad. And it was all about how they treated the family at the games. They're definitely going to get those inside tips. So, yeah, I think they're just trying to cut down the hit list stuff. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. That'll do it for us today. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. We're trying to get Antoine Randall, Bears coach, to join us on the Hang Around Ron Johnson segment. So we'll see if we can work that out this week. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. Want everybody know if you want endless Vikings talk with local experts, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Minnesota. Check out our squad shows with Arif Hassan, Luke Inman, Luke Braun, and Sam Ekstrom. And I join as well from time to time. And our Wednesday show with myself, Carol Levin Crew, and Sam Ekstrom, and Julia Daniels and Reggie Wilson. But again, I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. And thank you guys, and have a great week.